Hey guys, Brian back with another video. Today we'll be getting into talking about systems and features for State of Decay 3 that I believe would be a great addition to the game. Now, what I want you guys to do is if you guys don't agree with something I say in the video, or if you think that something should be different, please comment below, guys, because if this video gets enough likes and shares, guys, if you guys, enjoy what you see here, you really think it's good ideas, or you guys have a lot of good ideas in the comments, if this video gets enough likes and shares and so like, if it does really, really well, I'm gonna send it to the devs just to give them an idea of, where our heads are, guys. So, guys, I think this video is probably going to be a couple parts because in order for me to touch every aspect of the game that I want to go over, because I spent a lot of time this weekend, guys, going over this. This wasn't some half-cocked ideas, guys. I literally sat there brainstorming, taking notes, came up with really, really good ideas, I think. So the video might have a couple parts to it. But in this video, guys, we're going to be going over the map, a system I came up with called the Trade Hub, another system called Dead Zones, transportation, utilities such as water and electricity, resources and loot, and changes to outposts, which will kind of go hand in hand with resources and loot. All right, guys. Now you guys are probably sitting here thinking like, what the hell is this? Guys, like I told you, I sat down and really, really thought about this. So the map that I have here, guys, is the Red Dead Redemption 2 map. Now, the reason why I picked this map because it's the biggest map I know of to date in an open world game. And it is the only map that I could think of that resembled what I would want in State of Decay. What I'm thinking, guys, is I wanted the map to be at least comparable, if not bigger, than the Red Dead Redemption 2 map. Only because I'm looking at this as we are going to be going to next gen. So this is going to be the next gen Xbox and PC. And with the next gen systems, the way that the engines are, I believe that Undead Labs would be able to produce a map at least this big. At least, if not bigger. Now, things that we have to take into consideration for the map is that things that we don't know right now is how much time has passed since the second game to the third game. Because the things I would like to see is if there's a decent amount of time that passed, something that we didn't see too much of in the second game, I want to see nature taking over, coming back, overgrowing the roads a little bit, overgrowing buildings, yards, things like that. That way it shows that apocalyptic look to the map. Kind of like not as dramatic as The Last of Us because The Last of Us skips forward like 30, 40 years. But this, something that shows that the world is aging, that it's gone. There's no civilization around. Nobody's mowing their lawns, that kind of stuff. No roads are being taken care of. That is something I would like to see. Next, I would like to see biomes, guys. At first, I was like, oh, maybe I want to see seasons like summer, fall, winter, spring. But I figured that it's kind of weird and it would take a really long time for us to see a different season. So, just like Red Dead Redemption 2, I was thinking the game could go more of the route of biomes. Like, if you guys see up here on this makeshift map I created, this northern area right here would be very woodsy, very mountainous, and as you get more north, just like in RDR2, it could be more snow, kind of like what we've seen in the trailer for the game. There would be the snow up in this area, down in this area, like it could be desert. I would like to see different biomes. I would like to see the map show a little bit of diversity. I would like to see swamps, suburb cities, woods, mountains, deserts, highways. That's what this big blue thing going through here, guys, is an actual ginormous highway. All right. Real roadblocks, you know, stuff like that, guys. Country, like open country with farmhouses, things that they have in the game now, but I would like to see large cities. What we've been asking for the past little while. Now, if you guys notice right here on my screen, I have these black blotches all over the map. These are to signify cities, guys. And if you guys know the scale of the Red Dead Redemption map, you would understand about how big these cities are. Like this city right here is ginormous. All right, so that's what these black blotches here are to signify. What I would like to see for, cities, highly dense areas are right here. Now, throughout all these other areas, there could still be roads and houses and buildings and stuff, but they're not going to be as highly dense as these areas right here. Now, one of the things I want to see, guys, that we can get away from the different levels of difficulty would be to allow the map to determine spawns and to allow the map to determine the difficulty of the game. Now, what I mean, you guys are probably like, what do you mean by that? What I mean is, I would like to see them incorporate spawns not based off of player location and dynamic spawns. I would like to see more spawns based off of the area of the map. Like, say up here, you're up in the cold, you're up in the north, there's snow on the ground, zombies don't really like the snow. So up here, the area of the map might be more there you rarely see zombies up in the mountains or up in these snowy areas. But as you get more towards the cities and stuff, that's where you will start to see high density uh, hordes, things like that. On the highways, you'll start to see really, really big wandering hordes. On the roadways, you'll see giant wandering hordes. But I would allow, if I was on Dead Labs, I would make it so the zombies were more urban focused, which would allow, which we've seen in the new trailer, would allow the animals, zombies, to be more up in the rural areas, such as the woods. You'd have like the deers or the bears or whatever they're gonna have in the game would be more up in these areas. You might run across a couple stragglers here and there, but I do feel like if the zombies are up in the colder areas, they should move slow. Now, guys, another thing is I want to get away from infestations, like where you get one building in a city has, it'll spawn with, three, a screamer and six zombies, and as time goes on, it gets progressively worse. I feel that they should aim more for a infested zone. So just as a idea is every major like city in the map should be an infested zone. Like it should have a big red area to, like something like this, like to showcase that, hey, this zone is infested. And you have to go and you clear out the zone. And as you clear out the zone, it'll get smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually, the city will be clear of infestation. Now, it could start, they'll start back up. It's not like they just go away forever. It'll be just like regular infestations. But what will happen is they'll start off in one part of the city. Maybe this block right here is infested. And if you leave it untouched and you just allow it to grow, then it will slowly start to spread. And that city, once again, will become an infested zone. And for reasons we're going to talk about later on, they need to have real depth water, like not the ankle deep stuff that we're allowed to just walk across. I'm talking like they should add real water swimming animations. You know what I mean, guys? Because we're going to talk about it more later on with other topics, but I feel that it'll be a really, really good addition to the game. All right, guys. So the one of the big systems that I would like to see added to the game. I know a lot of people are scared of the game turning into an MMO, which is I do not want this game by any means to become an MMO. That would be terrible. But they could add MMO like systems that would make the game not feel like an empty world that you're playing in by yourself, that your friends come and help you every now and again. So the trade hub, guys, is a system that I would like to see something like this system to be implemented in the game because I feel like it would really, really help the game. So we can look at the trade hub like it's a multiplayer hub, pretty much, guys. At the end of the day, it's a multiplayer hub. If you're online, if you're playing offline, it's just going to be an NPC hub. It's an it acts as a giant trade depot, pretty much. At the end of the day, that's kind of what it is. It's a multiplayer hub slash trade depot. It'll allow players to trade with each other or to trade with NPCs. Now, when it comes to players trading with each other, I was thinking of more like a auction house type of deal where you would take an item, let's say a gun, you have an AR-15 that you want to sell, and you put it on the auction, you say, I want, 7,000 of whatever currency, you place your auction or whatever, and then another player on the server or on a server, however they want to work at. I'm not good at that type of stuff, but they would pretty much come and see your sale. And they would say, hey, I want to buy this M4. They would buy it with the currency. Now, in order for this to work, guys, they have to take off the currency cap because what we're going to talk about with the trade hub is there's a lot of ways for you to make money in this game. We're just going to call it money. We'll call the currency money. There will be a lot of ways for you to make money in this game, such as hunting, things that we're going to talk about later, like hunting, fishing. If you are a a metal worker and you make melee weapons and you want to sell them, if you want to sell cars, if you want to sell stuff like that, you can sell cars, guns, fuel, meds, like all types of stuff. And we're going to get more into the resource so you guys will understand what I mean by really being able to sell a lot of things. And they need to add really expensive things also to the trade hub because it'll give people something to spend their money on. Because right now, guys, you hit influence cap. You can call in a trader, get some materials that you don't need because you already got 15 vans out front full of them. You know what I mean? This will give they could put end game stuff in this trade hub, like special weapons, special vehicles, like dune buggies or something, like really rare vehicles that you can't loot in the game, and the only way to get your hands on them would be to buy them, like special weapons that you could only buy in the game. You can't loot them. So it gives players something to spend their resources on. And one of the main things we're going to talk about later on is resources and loot. Loot needs to be more rare in this game anyway, so it's going to give people a place to go to buy stuff from other players. Like, so instead of just doing trading with NPCs, you're doing trades between each other. So the money is constantly going in and out, in and out, in and out. The trade hub can also act as a quest hub. Now, if Undead Labs wants to put like a story mode or something like that in the game, it would be so easy, guys, for them to interweave this trade hub. I mean, they could have Red Talon outposts there. They could have the network outpost there. They could have both of them outposts there. They could have, all types of different enclaves inside this place that you do missions for. Like, say you go up to the guy that you sell meat to or you sell like food to, and you can get quests from him. Say you're a hunter, guys. Like that's what you want to do in the game. You want to go out and you want to be a hunter. You want to live off the grid, which is something you can't do right now in the game because the game forces you into this progression path where if you want to make it through the game and get better things, you have to go to this base. You have to live in this base. There's no way to really live off the grid, live off the land, go out and hunt for your food, fish for your food. There's nothing like that in the game right now. So I believe that with them going this route and allowing that type of gameplay, that would be awesome. Because I know, for instance, like I would like to play off the grid. I think that would be extremely fun, guys. You know what I mean? It would be different. It would be fun. And for someone who doesn't live off the grid, or for someone who lives off the grid, they might not have the same ways to make money as, somebody who goes and is constantly looting. So say you're a hunter and you want to go out and you want to hunt deer and you want to throw your deer, bring them down to the trade hub and sell them. And that's how you make your money. Or you go and you fish and you bring your fish to the trade hub and you make your money. You can save up your money. You can buy weapons and stuff from other players, or you can buy stuff from NPCs, or you can save up and buy the special weapons or the special vehicles, stuff like that, guys. That's just an example. Like I said, there's more things that we'll talk about in detail about what you can buy and sell. But for right now, I just wanted to give you guys a rough idea of how the trade hub would work. Now, also, what I mean by it's acting as a quest hub, it can also act for a hub for like the bounty broker, for a place where you can go grab bounties to get, more special rare equipment that you can't get from game loot. And they can also have like mission boards, guys, in there where you go, they have hey, go that we are paying, you know, 5,000 currency for somebody to go clear out this city. It's an infested zone. And hey, I was gonna clear that city out anyways. You grab the mission and you go knock it out. You know what I mean, guys? It gives you purpose behind what you're doing. You're not just going and clearing out a city just to go clear out a city. Now you're gonna get currency for clearing out the city. So Mainly, guys, it's going to be a place to link up with people for playing online, which we're going to get into one of the biggest endgame features, which is a big multiplayer or solo escapade, but it is very multiplayer oriented also. Or just hanging out, guys, because the trade hub should be open. Like, you should be able to see other players walking around in the trade hub, standing there. You should be able to see what they're wearing, their weapons that they have on them. You'll be able to see them. So it'd be a place for like end game players who have real rare guns and stuff that we're going to get into here shortly. They'll be able to show all that stuff off. And like I said, mainly just a place where you can sell things and kind of just hang out, find other players, because right now there is no way to find players to play the game that's reliable. Like, you can shoot a flare up in the air, but you don't know who's going to join your game. You don't. It's just kind of it's a shot in the dark. Now, if you're at a trade hub and you're standing around, there's players running around, and you're like, hey, I need somebody to come help me with this. And you can sit there and like physically talk to a player or message a player, and you could see them, and it would be, I think it would just be a lot better, guys. So, like I said, there's a lot of like ins and out things that I was thinking about with this system, that can be perfected and cleaned up. So if you guys, think this is a good system, or if it's a good idea of a system, that could definitely be, it could be grown, it can be made better. Let me know in the comments, guys, what can be done to make the system better. If you guys even like the idea of something like this, like I said, it would give the game that MMO feel where you're playing with more players, but you're really not. It's still just your map, but you go to this area and you find players kind of like what the heck is that game? Like the Division or like Destiny. They have those instances, those instance hubs, which this would have to be. I do not want to see Undead Labs try to make this into part of the seamless open world. I would like this to be an instance. Like, you go up to the gate, they open the gate, it goes through like a cutscene of you entering the trade hub, and then boom, brings you to a loading screen, loads you into the trade hub. And now you're in an instance where there's other players running around. Then when you leave, you go through the same little cutscene where you're leaving, and then boom, now you're back in your map. Or if you grab players that want to come with you, boom, you guys all leave the trade hub together. Boom, now they're in your map or you're in their map. But to have that MMO feel where you got players running around your map or like a PvP, like that type of stuff will never work in State of Decay, guys. You can't have PvP in a game with permadeath. There's too much griefing. It doesn't work. Now, other things, I'm not sold on these ideas, guys. I kind of just came up with it and I was just gonna throw it out there just to see what you guys thought. But the trade hub, like I said, it's like a multiplayer hub. Um, I was like, for those guys who do want PvP though, they could have a game mode. I just kind of made up a random name for it. I just call it the Bandit game mode, which is where you go, you kind of sign up for it or queue for it, or however they want to set it up. It's a PvP mode where they, maybe throw you in any one of the given cities in the game, and they border it off so you can't leave a certain boundary of the city, and they drop, anywhere from 8 to 16 of you guys in there. It could be a free for all or a team deathmatch. You get loadouts or whatever, and then you go and you PvP, guys. You shoot each other, last man standing, can get a bunch of currency or something that they can use in the trade hub to buy stuff. Um, for people who like that PvP style gameplay, and by winning matches and playing matches, you rank up, you earn more weapons for loadouts and stuff like that. I'm not sold on the idea, but I know a lot of people have asked for PvP, so for them to put something like this in the game would kind of scratch that itch for a lot of players that do want a PvP. All right, guys. So this is the big one. This is my new idea of a end game system, because right now State of Decay really doesn't have an end game. Um, like, it has the legacies and things like that, but it's a loop. It's a very short lived. You complete this task, you're done. There really is no like longevity in State of Decay. Like, yeah, you can try to do 100-day challenges for long term survival, but there really is no something in the game that like makes a player want to keep playing on that specific community. So I have an idea, guys. This is a random name I came up with. The name was actually derived from a red talon trait called Dead Zone Runner. So for me, guys, I just named them dead zones. All right, guys. So now, what a dead zone would be is an area that is so overrun with infected that the military abandoned the area. They tried to fight as long as they could, but they couldn't. So they abandoned the area and they blew the bridge. I know you guys see, like on the movies and stuff, where they'll just blow up the bridge, traps the zombies on that side of the bridge, so on and so forth. So I was thinking for this system, guys, we could have a thing in the trade hub. I was thinking a boat, guys. They would have a boat right next to the bridge that's blown up, and you could go and get but you got to save up money to buy parts to repair the boat. Pretty much, you repair the boat, and you're allowed to get on this boat and travel over to the dead zones. Now, the dead zones, guys, are where you're gonna get the military grade loot. So to kind of talk about the map a little bit, the map will not have military weapons on it. It just won't. They need to kind of cut back on giving away like great weapons, like it's all just luck of the draw. You get whatever gun you get. They should have military grade weapons locked behind this end game system. And you can still get guns. You can still get maybe an AR, which isn't military grade. That's a civilian M4. You can get AKs, shotguns, hunting rifles, pistols, things like that. You can still get in the regular map bow and arrows, crossbows, things like that. You can still get in the regular game, but when it comes to like M4s, scars, actual machine guns, grenades, mines, military grade C4, which will be used for another endgame system that we'll be talking about here in a little bit. That type of stuff will be locked behind these dead zones. So the what you'll have to do is you're gonna have to level up your survivors, gear them out in the regular, weapons, gear, equipment, consumables. You're gonna have to get a bunch of ammo, and multiplayer, guys, would be key. And what I want this to be is up to 8 people, guys. You can bring up to 8 people. Think of it as like a raid almost. You get 8 of your buddies, you hop on this boat, you go across the water to this abandoned city. And I want it to be kind of like Lifeline, guys. Skyscrapers, huge buildings that you're not going to be able to go into and loot because that's not the point of this, but it has to have that city look to it. You go across the water, you get over there, and it's just full of special infected, ferals, any new special infected that they add to the game. It could be nighttime, there could be like night stalkers or freaking whatever, juggernauts, bloaters, hundreds of zombies, guys. These areas are like super duper infested. And you and a couple of your buddies, or just you yourself, obviously, to try to do it solo is going to be more for veteran players. So for those veteran players who are really, really good at the game, who really want to test them skills, push themselves to the limit, get over there, get these rare military guns that they could bring back and sell in a trade hub to other players who don't want to maybe take part in that. Like, say you're a hunter, guys, and like I said, like I was talking about earlier, but you want some military grade weapons, but you don't want to go and do dead zones. That's not your thing. Hey, you can go down to the trade hub and buy them. Now, granted, weapons from the DZ, from the dead zone, are probably going to be really expensive because it's going to take a lot for players to get these. They're going to be really, really expensive to get to the dead zone, let alone complete the dead zone. Um, like I said, players will be able to come back from these dead zones and sell the equipment. So for players who aren't into the hunting or into the fishing and they're into that high paced gameplay where they're constantly fighting zombies and killing hordes and special infected, this is a way for them to make money outside of like bounties or missions to go clear things. So they can go out to these dead zones, grab all these rare weapons and equipment, come back and sell it, or come back and keep it for yourselves. I believe that there should be military grade armor in these dead zones that will help you fight um, human enemies, like military helmets that actually do stuff, bulletproof body armor that actually does stuff. But the only way to get this stuff is from the dead zone. And I would like I said, guys, I want to see rare, really rare weapons, rare weapon attachments, because that's going to be something we're talking about later. But I do want to see weapon attachments where you can change scopes. This is where you get military grade suppressors, like professional suppressors or advanced suppressors. There should be no way to get those type of suppressors outside of these dead zones. Any other suppressors or like really, really good military grade attachments, like 203 grenade launchers that you can attach to M4s. So you can have a grenade launcher attached to your rifle. That stuff should be gained from the dead zones. Now, players who full clear these dead zones should get access to like a special dead zone outfit, like a uniform that they can wear in the trade hub, show off, like, hey, I'm a dead zone player, blah, blah, blah. Like the people would be able to look at you and be like, oh man, that guy's a dead zone player. Like he completed it. Obviously they'll have dead zone weapons like scars and M4s and rare weapons that, you can't get anywhere else. But it gives players that sense of accomplishment. It gives them something to strive for. Everybody loves showing off gear and equipment. I mean, I was a World of Warcraft player, guys. We all know what it's like to try to, you accomplish something and you want to show it off. You want people to see that you have it. So, and they also should get a trait. Whatever survivor you bring through the dead zone should get a trait called a dead zone survivor, which would give that specific survivor plus 15 health and plus 15 stamina. It's kind of like, boom, you completed this. Here, the survivor's now a certified badass. And the thing with dead zones, guys, is the game should probably just start off with 1 because it's going to probably take players, you know, weeks, if not, maybe a week or a week and a half to even be geared enough to make it to the first dead zone and be able to clear it. Like I said, this is not something I want players to be able to just clear in 3 hours, guys. Just skirt through the game, grab some gear and equipment, head over, hop on a boat, go clear a dead zone within the first 3 hours of playing the game. No, this should be a end game achievement, guys. It should be extremely difficult, either as solo, and it should scale too. So whether you go in there solo or you go in there with 8 people, it should be obviously more difficult if you're in there with 8 people compared to if you're in there solo. But I still want it to be an extremely hard solo challenge. That way, players can't just go in there, farm dead zones for equipment and go out and just sell it. They'd be able to kind of take advantage of that system. It should be really, really difficult. And another thing about dead zones is they can add more down the line. They can add different ones, different areas. It's another way for them to add more end game progression, so more areas for us to go into to clear out as a team. They could get harder, they could get more complex. There could be objectives in these dead zones that we have to accomplish. Um, all types of things, guys. But the way I see a dead zone working, if I could break it down just so you guys, you get on the boat. It's an instance too. This is not part of the seamless open world. It's an instance. You get on the boat, get a cutscene, you go across the water. Boom. You guys land. You get off the boat. You got ferals and all types of stuff all the way. You guys are guns ablazing, firing, 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 and you make it to a checkpoint, which is like a military outpost. And there's like a tent and military personnel dead all on the ground. And look, there should be like specific zones, like areas within the dead zone that you got to go to where you get the loot from. So it's not like there's just gonna be loot scattered all over. You go to these specific checkpoints throughout the dead zone, and that's where the loot's gonna be. It'll be dead military bodies. You gotta, it'll be like a bunch of trashed vehicles and a tent area, and you all go over there, you loot your stuff, and the drop point is the boat. So you got to bring your stuff back over to the boat, drop it, go back, clear out more area, bring your stuff to the boat, drop it. That way, when you get back, you can offload everything off the boat. That way, you're not, limited to your one inventory. You can actually go over there. Now, I'm not talking about being able to go over there and get like 15 guns and 3,000 bullets and all this crazy stuff. Like I'd say if you go over and you full clear a dead zone, maybe you can get, 2 guns, couple weapon attachments, and some bullets, some consumables, stuff like that, but not like an overwhelming amount of stuff. You know what I mean? I'd say maybe equivalent to clearing like 2 plague hearts worth of stuff. You should be able to get a decent amount of stuff. It should definitely be worth it, but it doesn't want to be too much stuff to where you go over there and you're coming back with just ridiculous stockpiles worth of stuff. So guys, that I think if they added something like that, like a dead zone to the game, it would be I feel remarkable, guys. I feel like it would be something to really look forward to, it'd really give you a sense of endgame. Um, and like I said, it's something that they can build on and just keep pushing, keep adding more new rare weapons to the game, keep adding new armor and stuff like that. And you go and you get better and better and better. And you get a team and you go and you start clearing these dead zones. And like I said, you can really make a lot of money in the game by selling all this rare equipment if that's what you want to do. So, like I said, guys, there's all types of stuff that I can't even get out of my brain and explain properly. But if there's ways that, if you guys like this idea, like I said, let me know in the comments if there's things that could be added to change this or just no, it's a dumb idea. Hey, let me know in the comments, guys. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, guys. So I'm going to kind of get away from the end game systems and we're going to start focusing on transportation, guys. This is a big thing about State of Decay because cars, I feel, have always been an issue for the game. Not just physics wise, I mean, just overpowered wise. Like, it's really, really hard for Undead Labs to balance vehicles because they kill zombies so effectively. So the thing I think that one of the things I need to change about cars is they shouldn't just be an automatic one shot to a zombie. Like you shouldn't be able to just sideswipe a zombie barely and then his head explodes. You know what I mean? There should be some type of real impact that is required to actually physically kill a zombie with a car. That'd be one way to kind of nerf the power of cars. But what I'm ultimately aiming for, guys, and it's going to sound crazy when I see this, they need to make cars more rare and harder to get up and running because it's the apocalypse, guys. If right now in the current game, if I start a brand new game, I can have a fully functioning, fully fueled up vehicle in 5 minutes of like start the very beginning of the game to fully running vehicle 5 minutes, if that. Depending on my the luck of the draw, you can usually get a gas can right in the back of your car. Now, I really feel like they need to get away from making cars so easily accessible. I feel that cars need to be hard to get, guys. I mean, to repair them, it should require a ton of like vehicle scrap that you have to go around the map, like looting like wrecks on the side of the road or wrecks on the highway, getting engine like parts to repair the engine. They don't need to have like specific parts like, oh, you need to get an alternator, and like they don't need to go overly complicated, but just things like just vehicle parts, vehicle scrap, and you have to have 2,000 vehicle scrap to repair the engine. Boom, you repair the engine, and then you need more vehicle scrap to repair the tires. You repair the tires, you know and then and then obviously fuel and stuff like that. Like they should make it really, really difficult to get these vehicles up and running. It should be something that is an investment, something that you're going to want to take care of your vehicle when you do get it fixed because it's such an investment to get it up and running. And it should, without fail, require a mechanic. There's no reason why you should be able to fix a vehicle without a mechanic. So not only is it going to be a skill wall that's going to prevent you from getting a car, but it should just be a very big investment to get a car up and running. It should take a lot of materials. Fuel needs to be extremely rare in the game. And cars, guys, I mean, if we're in the apocalypse, you're talking, the tires are going to rot. The cars are going to break down. It's going to be hard to find a running vehicle in the apocalypse. Like it just is what it is. Um, so that's the one way I think they should approach nerfing cars. Is just make them hard to find and hard to get up and running. And now, guys, a lot of you guys are probably like, dude, like that's crazy. It's gonna be a freaking walking simulator, blah 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 blah. Like, when I say vehicles need to be rare, guys, I mean they should be rare, like really rare. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you start a brand new game and you 100% focus on getting a car up and running. It should take a minimum of like 2 to 3 hours. Like, it should be that much of an investment, guys, to get a car. Now, say you that this is going to kind of try to caveat into the trade depot. Now, say you are a person like you really like cars, guys, and when you built an auto shop at your base, like you have an auto shop, and that is what you do. You specialize in cars. You have a mechanic. You have an auto mechanic, which will allow you to fix things, engine parts for cheaper. Instead of costing 2,000 vehicle scrap, it only costs you 1,000 if you have an auto mechanic. Um, you know what I mean? So you specialize in cars. Like, say you're just a car guy, you really like cars, and they should keep the same variety of vehicles they have in the game now. I'm not talking about like only having like one or two. Like, they don't have to have a ton of variants, but just have a van, have a car like or a sports car, have this, because one of the things that I was going to get at about this is when you have an auto mechanic in your base, guys, and you're getting all these vehicle parts and stuff like that, or vehicle scrap. Um, you should be able to customize vehicles. I'm not talking like insane amounts levels of customization. I'm talking basic customization, kind of like if you guys remember how like Days Gone, like you can upgrade the engine, maybe make the car a little faster. You can upgrade the wheels, make the wheels more durable. You can upgrade like kind of how they have the apocalypse kits now, but just being able to individually, add headlights, add armor to your doors. So when you got like ferals or whatever running at you, or a deer running at you and they smash into the side of your vehicle, instead of just popping your door off or doing significant, you got armor on there. You know what I mean? And if you are a vehicle guy and that's what you like to do is work on vehicles, hey, more power to you. You can sit there and that could be your business. You can go out and you could spend the time to find vehicles, to upgrade them and bring them to the trade hub and sell them and make a ton of money off of your skill, like your trade. If you want to be a mechanic, you know, community, you should be able to do that in the game. And I don't I see I think that would be amazing, guys, to allow people to do that kind of stuff. And also, like small things, guys. Like if you complete like Dead Zone, like maybe you can like unlock a rare vehicle vinyl or something like they could have rare vehicle vinyls that you can buy that are really expensive in the trade hub. And if you find like a painting kit, like kind of how they have facility mods, but just find like a painting kit or a painting like gun or something like that. That will allow you to change the color of your vehicle at your base. So you'd be able to customize the color of your cars. You'd be able to apply vinyls, and then you can sell these to players in the trade hub, guys. People who maybe don't want to sit there and spend that same amount of time investing in repairing vehicles, but they just want to kind of buy one. Say maybe they're a farmer and they're like, hey, I saved up enough money. I want to buy a really nice truck. They go to the trade hub, they buy a really nice truck with the money that they saved up from, all their farm crops or something like that. And now you guys are sitting here like, okay, dude, why are you making cars so hard to get? They're OP, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, guys, I don't want cars to be the only mode of transportation. Like right now, walking in cars is all we got. But guys, if there's anything out of anything that we're talking about in this video today, guys, there's anything I want them to add to this game, guys. I want them to add horses. There is no reason why horses should not be in this game, guys. They are just you think apocalypse, guys, you need a horse. You know what I mean? They're silent. It's a silent mode of transportation. All right, guys. And they're just I don't know, guys. So I want them to add horses. Now the horses, like I would like a horse system roughly if I were to compare it to another game again. I would have to say something along the lines of Red Dead Redemption. Now, granted that horses were the only means of transportation in that game, so nothing as in depth as that. But I do feel that horses should have stamina. They should tire. If you're sitting there running full speed, across the map, your horse should get exhausted. I feel that horses when they're brand new because I feel like the way you can obtain horses, guys, is you should be able to capture wild horses with like a rope. You know what I mean? Like you get a rope, you can like crouch up to a horse, you know, throw the rope on them and go through like, an animation where you're sitting there struggling with the horse and then boom, you calm them down, you tame them, and then boom, now you got a basic level horse. Now the thing is, just like games like Red Dead, where your horse isn't very trained, you haven't had it for a while. Um, they should be easier to spook. So say you're going through a town, you're on a brand new horse, guys. You know what I mean? Or say you're on your way out to go do a hunt. You know what I mean? You're on your horse, you're trotting up the road, you're about to cut in, and all of a sudden your horse starts like, making a weird noise, and you're like, "What the hell's going on?" And a feral or zombies come out or something out the tree line or something come at you, and your horse spooks and it rears up and kicks you off. Now that should be something that happens when you have like a newer ranked horse, something a horse that you haven't had for a while. Now, when you have a more seasoned horse that you've had for a really long time, maybe you upgrade them through like a stable facility, which I that's another thing I was going to talk to you guys about. Having a stable facility you can put in your base, which will allow you to hold multiple horses instead of only being able to hold like, if you have a stable, you can maybe hold like one or two, and you have a level 2 stable, you can maybe hold like three or four, and so on and so forth. And that could be, like I said, another thing for the trade hub, guys. Say horses are your thing. You know what I mean? Like say that like you want to go and you want to get horses and you want to sell them at the trade hub. They should sell for a good amount of money. You know what I mean? Like that would be something cool and unique for you to be able to do. Um, I feel that you should be able to name your horse, and also feel that horses should be able to be killed. They should give horses some just simple commands, like be able to call your horse to you and be able to do like a sharp whistle or something to make your horse run away. That way, if you do get in a situation where you enter a city, a bunch of zombies are there, they notice you, they start running at you, you should be able to do like a sharp whistle or something. Your horse runs off. That way, you don't have to worry about your horse getting killed. But now, if you're being reckless and you're not paying attention, you go into a city, you turn a corner, boom, there's a bunch of zombies there, kind of like Rick, season one Walking Dead. You turn that corner, your horse spooks, throws you off, runs, gets mauled and grabbed up by a bunch of zombies or something like that, and killed. Like that horse is dead, guys. Like this state of decay, there's permadeath. And I feel like that would really be a good feature, guys, for them to add. I would like to see saddles be able to be crafted from hunting. Like you go out, you hunt. Not only can you sell the meat, but you can take the pelts. You can take the pelts and craft them into saddles. If you have, somebody with like the tailoring skill, which is a skill that nobody ever freaking uses, except the fact I think they get like an extra inventory slot or something like that. You know what I mean? Like not just tailoring, but say you have somebody with a skill. You know what I mean? And they can craft uh something like saddles, you know what I mean? Like you use old backpacks or extra backpacks because we all know we have 50 million backpacks in our supply lockers. You could break those down and turn them into saddles along with or saddlebags along with using like deer pelts or wolf pelts or something like that to create saddles. And the saddles kind of like if you any of you guys have played Red Dead Redemption 2, you're allowed to attach things to your saddle. Like you can throw maybe a rucksack over the back of the horse, so it's like laying across his backside. Or you can throw a deer up there, depending on the level of butchering they allow you to do, if unless it's kind of like Days Gone where you kind of just go up to the deer, you go through an animation, you get the meat, put it in your inventory, or if they just allow you to throw the whole deer up there and bring it back to your base and carve it up and use like it all just depends on the level of detail they want to go in with the hunting. But hunting definitely needs to be a thing, guys. Horses definitely need to be a thing. Crafting saddles, making saddlebags for inventory for your horse. um, that should be a more primary version of travel when you first start the game. Should be maybe trying to get a horse. Like I said, if you don't want to go through the trouble of finding your own horse, then yeah, you might have to walk your behind down to the whatchamacallit, the trade hub. But you could go there and whether you're online, they should have an NPC in there that sells horses, or you buy horses from players. And if they want to go as far as to maybe have different types of horses, more rare horses that have more stamina or run faster or stuff like that, or more common horses, that could be something they go. But I mean, just to have a basic horse, I don't care if it's a roach level horse. I don't care if the horse mechanics aren't even this in depth. But to have horses in the game, guys, I really, really feel that would be. It's just super duper necessary. All right, guys. So I'm gonna cover a little bit of the utilities, and if we have time, we might get into resources. If not, I might push the resources into the next episode because this is gonna be a little long. But utilities, guys, such as water and power. All right. We'll start with water. Right now in the game, water is it's pretty unnecessary. Like you don't need water really for anything except a morale boost or crafting certain items. Like very very slim select amount of things in the game require water for crafting. I feel that they need to make water kind of like a necessity. Not super ridiculous to where you're like babysitting your guys. You got to go out and get fresh water every day. Like, no, but they should add maybe like a water storage to the storage facility where you have a gauge or it tells you how many gallons or whatever, or a blue bar or whatever, how much water you have. And they should incorporate water into more crafting recipes, such as cooking, or they should incorporate it into like making things that require water, your garden, or just your community needing to drink water. Um, Now, the way I was looking at it, guys, is say you're beginning the game, uh, level things, you could just take water jugs, kind of like just like water jugs you hold in your hand. You could walk down to a river and fill them up like that, and boom, you got water. You bring it back to your base, put it in your water storage. Now, if they want to go into levels of like sanitizing water and stuff like that, that's not up to the devs. But just to be able to get water and bring it back to your base and store it, I feel is important. Because right now, water really doesn't serve a purpose, and they make it too easy, guys, to just save up these points, go over to this building. Um, spend your points, and now you got water at your base. They need to change that system because that's another thing we're going to get into about outposts. We're going to touch on water and electric outposts right now, but they need to make outposts more interesting and more complex. So when you go and you're getting water, guys, all right, at the beginning of the game, you're going, you're filling up your water jugs. You attach them to the side of your horse. You got them dangling there. Like that's a mission, guys. Like say it's a task. You wake up, you hop on the game. You're like, you know what? We're a little low on water. You hop on your horse, guys. You go out to the stream. That's maybe up in the woods a little bit. You get there. You hop off. You fill up your water jugs. Maybe you see a deer. You're like, oh man, maybe you go hunt a deer, you know, but you go get your water, slap it on your horse on the saddlebags or on the side of the saddle, and then you go back, something simple like that. A simple task, guys. It just gives you something to do in the game. You know what I mean? Like that's not just go out, loot, come back, go out, loot, kill a plague heart, come back, go out. You know what I mean? It gives you just like it makes you feel like you're living in this world. It gives you that sense of immersion. Now, like I said, guys, I don't want it to be something that's annoying that you got to constantly like keep up with, and it's like you're babysitting it. Like say you got a full water, that maybe it lasts you like 2 or 3 in-game days. And you got to go refill. Just something, unless you're sitting there using water for a ton of things. You know what I mean? Like you got to go and you got to use water to, you know, water your gardens, or like say you got like a bunch of gardens or something like that and you're using a ton of water for that, or you're using water for a bunch of crafting recipes, then at that point, yes, then you're going to have to constantly keep going out and getting more and more water. But at that point, that's on you. You know what I mean? You're using it. But I really feel like them adding water as a resource would just be it'd be very interesting. Now, to talk about water outposts, guys, the ones that we have in stated K2, I think the way they are right now needs to change. They're very, very uninteresting, and I honestly they're just overpowered. All you got to do is you go up to these water outposts and you pay some influence, and now you got water. That's it. Yeah, it used up one of your influence spot or your outpost spots, but I honestly feel like they just need to get rid of that system where it's just like, oh, go up, pay the money, and you got the place. Like I think that they should make it more interesting. Like you need to have somebody with metalworking who needs to repair one of the pipes inside of the pump station because it's broken because it's the apocalypse and 5 years later and stuff breaks. You know what I mean? So you got to have somebody with metalworking and maybe some metal scraps, and you got to repair the pipe. And then you also need, you know what I mean? And then on top of that, it's a fuel cost to run it. Now, instead of just having this invisible fuel cost, maybe there's a generator in the back, and you have to actually bring fuel cans to this water outpost attached to your horse. Bring some fuel because that's another thing. I feel fuel cans, guys, should become an actual physical object that you have to fill. Um, and you attach some fuel cans to your horse, you ride over, you fuel up the generator behind the water pump station, and then when you want water, you turn it on. You know what I mean? You go to your water pump station, you turn on your water, uses the fuel, the fuel lasts however long. And now you got water. Boom, boom, boom. You do your stuff. Then when you're done, you can just turn it off, turn off the water pumping station, so you're not wasting fuel. Because obviously, if you use up all your fuel, then you got to go back and refuel it. Now, all this stuff kind of sounds like, man, that could get really annoying. But to me, guys, that's immersion. That's realism. That's complexities that aren't over complex. Like, I'm not asking you to go in there and reroute water pipes to line up to be this way and have, you got to drop chlorine tablets and filter the water. Like, no, just simple things, guys. Like fueling up a generator to run the damn thing, which is a fuel cost that you have to pay anyways, but actually physically be responsible for going and putting the fuel in the generator and turning the thing on and off. You know what I mean? It's like simple things like that just add levels of complexity to the game that I think a lot of people would enjoy. And also, guys, just to touch it, when you're out in the middle of the wilderness, say you have a base way up north, and you're nowhere near the city or a water pump station. It shouldn't be like the game is now, where you can literally have a water pump station across the map that's giving water to your base. You should have to at least be within the vicinity, the city, or the district that water pump, like is for. Like if you're not in the city that water pump is for, that if you have a water pump in that city and your base is, 5, 6 cities away on the other side of the map, that water pump should not work for your base. They should have a proximity thing, um, to where if you're out in the wilderness, the water pump isn't going to work for you either. So that's it's kind of like a trade-off. You know what I mean? Like if you're one of the people that want to live off the land, live out in the woods, away from the zombies, you don't have to worry about zombies. You know what I mean? But it's going to be a little harder for you to get things like running water. You might have to do things like you're going to have to go and get it from streams. You're going to have to go fill up water jugs constantly. That's going to be something you're going to have to do if you decide to live off of the land. You know what I mean? Um, and to caveat right into electricity, I feel electricity should be the same thing, guys. When it comes to getting one of them substations up and running, they need to make it more complex. They need to make it a lot harder to get up and running, because base power is extremely overpowered. When you have power in your base, you can craft all types of stuff. You get all types of stuff for your base. If you're living out in a grid, shouldn't touch it. If you're not within the grid of that substation, you're not getting power to your base. Now, what do people who are living out in the woods do? They got to build a generator and they got to keep it fueled. Or they can actually build like a solar array out in the middle. You know what I mean? Because that's the only options they have. Nobody builds solar in the game. Like, who really would do that? Because all you're going to do is you're just going to go get an outpost for power, so you're not wasting a facility slot. But if you don't have an option, the only way for you to get quiet power that you don't constantly have to keep feeding fuel into, you're going to build a solar generator in your base to give you that power. Or you're going to build a regular generator if you don't have somebody with the skills sophisticated enough to craft one of them solar generators, which they should make extremely expensive and hard to get. Um, and then, like I said, you have to actually go up, fuel your generators, keep them fueled, turn them on and off. That way you're not wasting fuel. So if you have your generator running and it runs out of fuel, you got to fuel it back up. Not the base holding your hand and only allowing your generator to run for so long. And no, like if you run your generator out of fuel, that's on you. You did that to yourself. You're going to be like, damn, I left my goddamn generator on. Now I got to go out, get some more fuel. And fuel needs to be a hard resource to come by, guys. They need to allow you to be able to siphon it. That's where, once we get into talking about resources and we get to the fuel resource, we'll talk more about that. But coming across fuel needs to be a little difficult. Yes, you can craft fuel, but you're going to need chemistry. You're going to need like, uh, you know, uh, ethanol and all this other stuff to be able to actually craft it, which should be really, really difficult to do, because selling fuel should also be a way to make money, because fuel is a very, very hard resource to come by in the apocalypse. So I feel that they need to allow you to sit there and run them generators, guys. And if you run out of fuel, you're only going to do that so many times, because you're going to be like, damn, I ran out of fuel. Now I got to go out. I can't even run my generator today because I don't got no more fuel. You know what I mean? You got to go out. You got to make a whole thing of it. It just gives you more to do, guys. It gives you that immersion in the game. I don't know. Things like that, guys, to me, I really like. Some of you guys might be like, no, dude, that just sounds annoying as hell. I don't want nothing to do with that. And that's cool. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about that. But those are my takes right now so far on utilities when it comes to water. and it comes to power, guys. I believe that the way they have water and power set up in the game right now is extremely overpowered. It makes the outposts extremely boring. There's nothing to them. You know what I mean? At least going and maybe having to repair something in the outpost to get it up and running. Making sure the outpost is within the vicinity. You have to actually physically go to this outpost because as soon as you claim an outpost for fuel and water in State of K2 right now, I don't think I've ever gone back to that outpost unless I happen to be near it and I need to drop something or swap a character or something like that. Um, but there's never a reason to go. And then say maybe, all of a sudden your water's not working one day or your power's not working one day. You're like, man, did I run out of fuel? You go, you check your generator. No, my generator's fine. I have fuel. What's going on? Maybe the pipe burst again, and you got to go and you got to use materials to repair the pipe, or use an electric person with the skills of electric and use scraps of circuitry to repair the control panel or the you know what I mean the circuit board or something like that in your uh your substation, and just have maintenance things, guys, things that you got to keep up on that just add complexities and levels of immersion, guys. That type of stuff I just find really, really interesting. So that's what I got to say about fuel and water, guys. Let me know what you guys think, or if you have ideas to make that better, or if you think it's dumb. Let me know in the comments of ways to make it better, or if it's fine. All right, guys. So we're going to touch base on a quick couple of resources really quick, and then we'll probably cover the rest in the next episode. So, across the board, guys, loot, just in general, loot needs to be rarer because that is a big problem that's in State of K right now. If you sit there and you spend 2 hours just looting, you're going to have everything. Like it's super easy to just get so over geared so fast in this game. Resource capped, everything. It's just so easy to do because there's just so much loot in the game. There needs to be more containers where you don't find anything, or buildings just don't have containers. You know what I mean? Like that, there needs to be more of that in the game. Now, food is very common in the game. It's very, very easy to loot food, to just get gardens up and running, and boom, like or get some garden outposts. You never have to worry about food. Um, I feel like they need to make less lootable food in the game. It's the apocalypse. Food, is probably either bad or gone. Like, yeah, you might be able to go in a supermarket, maybe find a couple cans of food or something like that. That should definitely be a thing. But they need to make lootable food harder to come by, which will encourage players to hunt or fish more, or use gardens. And making players do that, and then like I said, things like the trade deep, our trade hub multiplayer thing that we were talking about, will allow players to go and make money off of each other. Like, hey, if you want to be a farmer, me particularly, I might not be too fond of gardens and, like, you know what I mean, like having to grow vegetables and food and stuff like that, but I don't mind going and buying some. But instead of going to an NPC, maybe I'll go to you. You know what I mean? Like, instead of having to call in a food trader to come to my base, maybe I have to go down to the trade hub and trade with players who post their food in the hub. And boom, now players are crafting food, they're hunting, they're fishing, they have gardens, they're growing all this food. And instead of just storing all this excess food in vehicles that's just sitting there, you know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Because you're so overcapped on food, they have a place to go and make money, guys. You know what I mean? To actually do something with this food. Now, one of the things that definitely needs to change, guys, is outposts when it comes to all of the resources. But we're going to touch food right now. Food outposts, guys. I have a big problem with food outposts. Uh, right now in the game, you go into a ran down, empty grocery store. You claim it as your food outpost, and now all of a sudden you're getting one food a day. That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Like, I can't loot any more food out of this store. So why, just because I say it's my outpost, am I getting food from it? It's not turning the kitchen on and like just foods being created. Like, where's the food coming from? So, food outposts need to just change completely. Like, yeah, maybe you can go inside of a old restaurant and make it an outpost, but it shouldn't give you food. It should maybe be a permanent safe area. Um, Maybe you can use the kitchen as a kitchen facility, you know what I mean? Which would make Outpost more interesting. You know what I mean? Like adding things like, all right, yeah, you go to an old restaurant, an abandoned restaurant, instead of making it into an outpost and get plus one food a day, maybe it's a kitchen facility now. Now you don't have to have a kitchen in your base. You can go down to this facility or this outpost, and you can use the kitchen in there if it has power or if you're running a generator. You know what I mean? In that area where the kitchen is, now you can go down there, you can turn the power on, you can use the kitchen if you need electricity for whatever you're doing. Or vice versa, say you need water, so you grab a couple water jugs, you throw them in your on your horse, or you throw them in your car, you bring them down there. Now you can craft stuff in your kitchen. Um, I feel that should be more or less what like those outposts should be. And when it comes to outposts that generate food, you should be able to go to like some of these farms that you see in the game and claim a farm. And maybe you'll be able to tend a couple gardens. Now, if you don't have space in your base to have a garden because you want to have something else, you can utilize these outposts as facilities, guys. I feel that would make them so much more interesting. And instead of it just randomly, giving you food, say you have to actually get in your car and drive over to this outpost and farm, not sit there and pick the corn, but walk up to the facility and gather the resources that you just earned. Um, you know what I mean? I feel that would make it more interesting. Hey, today I'm gonna go. This is what we're gonna do today, guys. We're gonna hop in the horse, or we're gonna hop in the car. We're gonna drive over. We're gonna pick up some food from these outposts. We're gonna stop down by the river. We're gonna grab some water. You know what I mean? It just adds that immersion. It gives you something else in the game to do other than kill plague heart, kill infestation, loot building. Like it gives you more to do. And I just find that would be a lot more interesting, guys. Those outposts would be more interesting. You would have to bring water, you know what I mean, to water the crops, you know what I mean? It would just give you more to do, guys, more responsibility, not over complex systems, but not super simple systems either. And I feel that they need to increase the time that it takes for crops to produce food also. I feel like it producing every day is a little bit overpowered, especially with this new system of being able to have outpost gardens. I believe that they should take a little bit longer to produce food. All right, guys. So I feel like I covered quite a bit of stuff in this video. I don't want it to be too long. So we're gonna probably do another part, which I'll cover the rest of the resources, and we'll start moving into different systems of the game. But I feel like we were able to cover quite a bit of stuff. And like I said, just comment down below, guys. Let me know if there's anything that you guys don't agree with, stuff you would rather see, maybe see differently, or things that you want to see change. It just whatever you guys want to say, just let me know down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.